Be honest. When's the last time you had a homemade meal? We get it. Between meetings, workout classes, and the kids' after-school sports, who's got time to cook? That's where HelloFresh comes in. No matter how busy you get, HelloFresh has everything you need to get an easy, home-cooked meal on the table. With flavor-packed recipes like Parmesan herb-crusted salmon, you'll be filling your kitchen with the cozy aromas of a homemade meal in no time. So go ahead, try HelloFresh. It's homemade, made easy. Learn more at HelloFresh.com.
This episode is brought to you by Old El Paso. Does game day hosting feel like an extreme sport? Not anymore. With Old El Paso, feeding your hungry crowd is oh so easy. Old El Paso's crunchy stand-and stuffed shells, bold seasonings, and squeezable sauces are fumble-free, flavor-packed, and perfect for cheering on your team. Football season is taco season with Old El Paso. Level up your next tailgate or watch party. Shop game day essentials at oldelpaso.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and those who don't identify as either, you are listening to Ratchet and Respectable. I'm still in PG. I told you I wasn't leaving when I said I was leaving. Just giving you an update because I know it changes from episode to episode. I thought as of Sunday, I would actually leave and go to Ghana first. Go to Ghana for like 10 days and then head on down to South Africa. But that's not working. So I'm here until further notice. It's CBC week in DC, Congressional Black Caucus Annual Legislative Conference. For many people, this is a time of great work, of elected officials and people involved in policy and advocacy and social justice from around the country to come together, the best mind in the business, coming together with the goal of bettering Blackness. For other people, it's an epic party week. I may or may not attend. I've got a few invites. My heart just isn't in it right now. You know, sometimes you be in go mode and then other times like, no. Also, I wandered into the kitchen the other day and my mom was watching, what is my pastor? Howard John Wesley. She was watching one of his old sermons on YouTube and he was talking about people in their 40s who haven't grown up. He said they're the people that be at the club on a Wednesday. Not married, no children, no responsibilities, just be outside all the time. I was like, oh, I feel judged. I feel judged. I was like, wait, do I need to like quote and unquote grow up? And if so, why? I feel like what I do kind of works for me. And I don't be at the club. I be at receptions. I be at fancy dinners. I don't be at the club. I ain't been to the club in I was going to say years, but I was at the club. It was the after party for the BET Awards. It was Usher's official after party. It was really good. That's the last time I went to the club. Parties, I go to day parties. That's different than the club. Like, it's light outside. Am I justifying the unjustifiable? Maybe I do need to grow up. I mean, it's not going to happen, but maybe I do. Yeah, I literally have an icky taste in my mouth thinking about it. I'm good. I just need to get back on a plane and go gallivant. Like, I've been sitting still too long. I'm starting to, not necessarily bad things. I'm starting to do a bunch of stuff that's like way down on like the list of things to do to keep myself entertained. Like yesterday, I went down in the basement because like all my worldly possessions are packed in my parents' basement. Don't worry about it. They have enough space. But all my worldly possessions are in their basement. And I was like, you know what I should do? I should clean out the basement. Every day for at least 2 hours, I go down in the basement and start sorting through boxes. As of right now, I have approximately 6 bags of clothes, just dresses, to give away. Stuff that I haven't worn in 10 years. All of it's going, all of it. I don't know where it's going. As of right now, we give it to a friend who takes it to her church. I heard they had a whole makeup party. I mean, it was like 4 bags of makeup. But I heard they had a whole makeup party and they had a really good time. So like, in Jesus' name. Amen. But I'm cleaning out like the rest of the stuff. Because in fairness, my mom was like, the stuff has been sitting here for 3 years. Some of the stuff has been sitting there since I came back from New York. I didn't take the stuff to LA. And when I go overseas, I take 3 suitcases. And that's more stuff than I could possibly need. I don't even use half of it. So this time when I'm traveling, I'm only taking the 2 trunks. It's not 3 because I'm like, what's the point? But I was like, if I can live my life for the last 2 years out of literally 3 suitcases, then everything else, not the furniture. I'm keeping the furniture. Eventually, I'll get a place. I looked at apartments in DC, no less, the other day. This is like the 3rd time I've done that. It's expensive as shit, but it's so cute. And my entire social life is downtown. Sometimes driving back and forth from the suburbs to the city gets on my nerves. But then I also remember, like, I'm not paying rent, so maybe I should just eat that. People are like, are you moving back? And I was like, how many times have I said this? I don't know. Maybe. We'll see. What is going on in the world? There's so much. I watched Netflix over the weekend. I really didn't do anything. I don't like going out on weekends. There's so many people outside. I watched Rebel Ridge on Netflix. The actor, Aaron Pierre, I think he played Malcolm X. What was the show with, why can't I remember his name? Forrest Whitaker. He was playing a drug dealer. I mean, a big drug dealer in Harlem. And Malcolm X was one of the characters on the show. I think he played Malcolm X on that show. He was definitely in, there was some, I want to say, Amazon movie about Black people. I want to say right after slavery. I remember him from that. I didn't really pay attention to him. I clocked him as attractive, but I was like, But in this film, I don't even think I realized he had light eyes, which is not really necessarily my thing. I like it on Michael Ealy, but it's not necessarily like a thing for me. The way they had him in this Netflix poster, I was like, whoa, who that? I clicked on the movie thinking it was, you know how sometimes I talk about this? I just like to see men with big guns shooting up shit. Like, I just like to see like an excessive amount of violence sometimes. Like, I read somewhere they were like, women who like a lot of violence and who tend to watch like a lot of murder mysteries or Snapped, things like that. And they were like, that's a trauma response. And I was like, okay, I accept that. I'm not in denial about it. All right. So I just like sometimes to see like men with big guns just shoot up a lot of shit, like excessive violence. Like I watched Gangs of London season 1 for the first time, maybe like 2 weeks ago, which if you watched Gangs of London when it first came out in like 2020, and in all this time, which indicts like 99% of people who watched it, never said anything to me about it, we're not friends anymore. That is one of the greatest seasons of TV I've ever seen. There's a particular episode where they're trying to get the boy to the boat, which is one of the greatest hours of television I have ever seen in my life. Like, it's better than the heist scene from Heat, which I think is one of the best shootout scenes of all time. No one ever told me about Gangs of London. I just happened to stumble upon it when I was washing my hair. But that level of violence is perfect for me. 500 people had to die in season 1 alone. It was great. I expected, and I wanted that level of violence with this movie. It wasn't that. The guy doesn't like to kill. He's more like martial arts than like straight up killer. I was like, okay, you don't want to kill. You don't want to do guns. It wasn't violent enough for me. It started off really good. And I'll just give you like a basic. The police rob him and he wants his money back. That's how it all goes from there. The plot starts off really strong. Like for the first 30 minutes, 40 minutes even, it's very engaging. And then it gets like convoluted. It was okay. I wasn't mad that I watched it. I didn't have like the WTF like when I watched Deliverance, but it was okay. He was fine. Like he was the draw. Like he was the plot for me. And I was like, just put him on the screen and like let him do what he do and ride around on his little bike. They could have taken his shirt off a little more, I thought, but it was fine for what it was. I didn't realize till after I watched the movie and then I was looking up the reviews about it to see where my thoughts were aligned. This is the movie that Bey was in, the Boyega. Remember there was this story about John Boyega. He just walked off production from the movie. Something happened on set, which we've never gotten to the bottom of. No one's ever spilled the tea. They were shooting this film, like production was underway, and John Boyega didn't show up for call time. They were calling his phone, he didn't answer. They were calling his room, he didn't answer. Somebody finally went over to the hotel, I guess thinking he overslept or whatever. They got to the hotel room and it was empty. They asked the workers, they said, where is this man? They said, oh, that man left this morning. He checked out. He just left. So people expected it to be this like big thing because, like you've wasted all these people's money, just walked off production. Like this is a terrible thing that's happened. How could you do this? John Boyega is going to kill his career in Hollywood. No one's ever going to work with him again. I want to say it was the Hollywood Reporter, I think, finally caught up with Netflix and was like, hey, so what's going on with John Boyega? Like you guys must be pissed that he just walked off production and wasted all this money. And like now the film's not even a go. And Netflix was like, no, everything's okay. We look forward to working with John on future projects. And, everything's good over here. which let me know some crazy shit happened on set. John Boyega and his team said something repeatedly. Netflix didn't handle it properly, and then John Boyega left. It hasn't said shit. There must be an NDA and somebody's check still got cut because none of the stories have been circulating. But something happened on that set. One day we'll find out. But this was a John Boyega movie that he walked away from, and then Aaron Pierre got picked up for the role. He's a fine actor. He didn't really say much. I mean, it's an action flick. When he did kick ass, it was good. I just wanted more violence. That's all. I look forward to seeing him in other projects. He looks like a real life superhero. You ain't really got to do much to him. Can he be like in Marvel? Can he be like an X-Men or something? Just put him in some sort of superhero something. I would like that. You know who else looks like that? I think it's the light eye thing. DeWanda Wise. I always tease her, and I'm like, you look like a real life superhero. Like you got superpowers you just haven't shared with us yet. Just looks like a superhero. So does he. He fine. He young. He 30. I want to say like a new 30. And I'm like, ooh. That's why I'm not going in too much on him. Like 30 is young for me. I don't even usually like look under 40 at this point. Although I did go on a date with a 34-year-old. On accident. I thought he was like 38, 39. And he carries himself very mature. And he has his shit together. And then we're on the date. He said something. And I just asked, how old are you? Because I actually thought he was going to say he was older and that I had read him too young. And then he was like 34. I wasn't trying to be rude. I almost choked on my water. I tried to keep a straight face. I don't think I did, though. But I was like, oh. I told like the group chat when I got home, like the mini chat, not the big chat. I told like the mini chat and I was like, yo, they were like, how did it go? And I was like, yo, the first thing I said, I was like, he's 34. And they were like, and I was like, I can't date a 34-year-old. 34? And they were like, what's wrong with 34? That's a grown-ass man. Technically, yes. And they were like, if he has his shit together and he reads as mature to the point that you thought he was even older than what you already thought he was, like you thought he was in his 40s. Okay, so he's not. Like, does it matter? And I was like, 34? It officially makes me a cougar. I don't know. I don't know. I just thought it was too young. The point is, Aaron Pierre is 30. I don't feel comfortable lusting over him the way I would over, say, like a Michael Ealy or Morris Chestnut. He too fine to just be called cute and adorable because he definitely ain't that. But just I can't lust properly. I can't. It's just I'm not activating.
This episode is brought to you by Old El Paso. Does game day hosting feel like an extreme sport? Not anymore. With Old El Paso, feeding your hungry crowd is oh so easy. Old El Paso's crunchy stand-and stuffed shells, bold seasonings, and squeezable sauces are fumble-free, flavor-packed, and perfect for cheering on your team. Football season is taco season with Old El Paso. Level up your next tailgate or watch party. Shop game day essentials at oldelpaso.com.
What else do we have on our list? Beyoncé. There's a lot of Beyoncé news this week. The first news was Beyoncé didn't get nominated for not a single damn thing for the Country Music Awards. Despite Texas Hold'em being like a huge hit, didn't it hit #1 on the country charts? And 16 Carriages, I don't think it hit #1, but it charted high as well. Nothing? Okay, fine, no album of the year, but like nothing, no nominations, nothing at all, nothing. Despite what she did for the resurgence of country music, especially amongst Black folks, like sales are up. Not nominated for one single thing, completely froze out. Beyoncé. And you know how I feel about Cowboy Carter. It's probably my favorite Beyoncé album. I'm more of a Beyoncé visuals person, like Beyoncé musically, like she's cool. I know when the Beehive meetings are, but I'm not like a Beehive member. I think Cowboy Carter is an amazing album. I listened to that album on repeat for about 3 months. I love that album. I've never worn a Beyoncé album out like that. Love. Nominated for nothing. That's just wrong. And racist. Let's also call it what it is. Like, it's impossible to me that she didn't get nominated for anything for the CMAs. That's crazy. I think that she and her team may have been expecting to be nominated for something because there have been 2 big things that were dropped right around when these nominations happened. One is Bey put up a new commercial, for lack of another word. It's a video, really, on socials for her hair care line for Sacred. I have no desire to use Sacred. I really just am interested in Sacred to put the products on my sink as decor because they're pretty. but I don't love them enough to actually pack them in a suitcase and take them overseas because that's where I usually am. Like, maybe if I come back and get my own place, I'll do it. I don't know. But yeah, she made a video. People have the same reaction to like every time she make a video. They're like, those are really good. What are they called? Not clip-ins. Basically saying it still ain't Beyoncé hair, even though like she zooms in on her hair. They show her like, playing with her edges. They show the person washing her hair, like parting the hair. You can see the scalp. They're Q-tips, K-tips. They're convinced that they're just high-end K-tips or like, some amazing lace front. I'm like, okay, girl, okay. Many people did point out, which I think there is some accuracy to, they were like, she has a whole filter on her face, like the whole video. And I was like, it kind of does look like a filter. Like she doesn't look real. She looks a little AI, whatever. She's not selling makeup in the video. She's selling hair. Hair that some people think she bought, but that's not the point. The point is she released this video promoting Sacred. And then she also, just this morning, released the cover. She's on a new issue of GQ. She looks really great on the cover. Very buxom. Very, very light blonde. She's back to that super, super, super light blonde again. It's part of her like country mystique. I think this was all time to be in conjunction with the CMAs announcing their awards. I truly believe there was no world in which she expected that she would not be nominated for at least one CMA, if for nothing else, for Texas Hold'em. But, that didn't happen. But the cover of GQ, the pictures are really good. I don't particularly love the cover, but I don't hate it enough to drag it in any way. I don't particularly care for the super light hair. The pose is just okay. The body is bodying. The outfit is outfitting. She's a little thicker. I enjoy thick Beyoncé. I like thick Beyoncé and thick Rihanna. Those are my favorite versions of them. She looks great. There's a picture inside. She has on this, it looks like a chocolate knit dress. It's kind of off the shoulder. Her hair is pulled up. She's smoking a cigar. I thought that picture was absolutely amazing. It looks like she's standing in front of a saloon. There's like a puff of smoke coming out of the cigar. I really like that. I wonder if these are Tiffany diamonds that she has on. She still has that Tiffany's deal, yeah? There's another picture. She's got on all black, sheer black. Her boobs look huge. Not necessarily a bad thing. It looks like a good boob job. Sitting on a stool. She's got her head thrown back and her mouth open. It's giving a bit of porno, but I think that was the point. I'm not mad at it. It's nothing like disgraceful like that cut cover of my beloved Usher Raymond. I'm still mad about that. I'm on Beyonce's page. She has different pictures than the one GQ posted. See, stuff like this makes me miss being a magazine editor. The cover of GQ, it's fine, but there's another shot on Beyonce's page. She's sitting on a chase chair. Is that a chase? It's like a half chair, half chase. Let's go with chair. Okay. She's leaned back. She has on this black sheer gown with rhinestones all over it. It's got some feather situation happening at the top. It's real glamorous and over the top. And then she's leaned back, but looking at the camera, not looking at the ceiling. And she's got the long blonde hair, the light blonde hair. She's got her hand down and she's holding a glass of whiskey. She's got these two giant rings on, diamonds, diamonds, diamonds. This is like a cover photo to me. I would have put this on the cover if I was the editor. This is perfect to me. She looks really, really good. Everything is just perfect. And then she's got this other shot. It's zoomed in just on her face. And she's got the cigar in her mouth. Her hair is pinned up. She's got some curls falling down. It's giving very Marilyn Monroe. But it's perfect. I'm this is what I would have put on the cover. But that's just me. Her boobs look really, really good. You should go on Beyonce's page and look at her pictures. She has the better pictures than the ones GQ posted. There's a bit of overlap, but not too much. Yeah, her pictures are way better. I don't know what GQ was doing. Let's go back to the cover. I did read the story. Nothing groundbreaking. The cover story is called The Business of Being Beyoncé. So she's got Sacred, obviously, and then she's got this new whiskey line, Sir Davis, named after her grandfather. Beyonce did not. It's an interview. GQ put her on the cover and she allowed GQ to send her questions via email. She didn't actually speak to GQ, so it's a Q&A. Her interview reads like a writer wrote it. Not like she wrote it, like a writer wrote it. I say that as a writer. Nothing really groundbreaking. I'll go back to the GQ page and see if there's anything that stands out, but there was nothing salacious or scandalous, no real new New information perhaps, but nothing particularly interesting. They ask her, what is she doing in this moment? Because she's not there in front of them and they have no idea. She says she's focusing on her health, taking her supplements, eating very clean. She says she's given up all meat except turkey. They asked her about whiskey, why liquor. She says, I'll never forget the first day I had whiskey. It spoke to me nice. I remember thinking, why have I never had this before? It was strong and warm, just the right amount of challenge. I love the process, the ritual of it. Whiskey isn't something you just shoot down. It's a commitment. You got to have patience. I'd like that. Like, this is the type of banal response that she's giving via email. Whiskey isn't just for old men in smoky bars. It's for anyone who appreciates depth, complexity, and a bit of mystery. The entire aging process is a labor of love, with attention put into every step, from the grains malting to the handcrafted barrels, and I appreciate all of it. Making whiskey is an art form. Why y'all making me read this? Oh, this is interesting. GQ asked her, what has your experience been like as a Black woman in business spaces that some might have assumed you wouldn't thrive in? And she says, or writes, there's a huge contrast between the business journeys of men and women. Men often have the luxury of being perceived as the strategists, the brains behind their ventures. They're given the space to focus on the product, the team, the business plan. Women, on the other hand, especially those in the limelight, are frequently pigeonholed into becoming the face of the brand or the marketing tool. It's important to me to continue to take the same approach I've taken with my music and apply my learnings to my business. She says of her whiskey brand, we took our time, we did our research, and we have earned respect for our brand. I try to choose integrity over shortcuts. I've learned that true success isn't about leaning on a name. It's about crafting something genuine, something that can hold its own. It's not about being perfect. It's about being revolutionary. Okay. I wish they'd been able to ask her, like, how do you feel about getting snubbed by the CMAs? But the interview was done earlier this summer. Oh, she says this about Sacred. She says, when I started my hair care brand, Sacred, I wanted it to be recognized for what it does for real people and their hair. When it was launched, I made a conscious decision not to appear in the ads. The brand's first impression needed to stand on its own merit, not be swayed by my influence. I've been using these products for years, so I know firsthand how magical they are. She got a lot of criticism for not being the face of her brand and for not, being seen enough, like using her brand. She's got that criticism for her whole career. I think she's trying more with Sacred. She has heard the criticisms. She's trying. I see it. So here, they asked her about the visuals. They said, was your decision to move away from music videos a deliberate one? You pioneered and perfected the visual album to such an extent that it was striking to see Cowboy Carter and Renaissance released without any. She said, I thought it was important that during a time where all we see is visuals, that the world can focus on the voice. The music is so rich in history and instrumentation. It takes months to digest, research, and understand. The music needed space to breathe on its own. Sometimes a visual can be a distraction from the quality of the voice and the music. The years of hard work and detail put into an album that takes over 4 years. The music is enough. The fans from all over the world became the visual. We all got the visual on tour. We then got more visuals from my film. I guess. And this was written by Fraser Tharp. I try to shout out the writers when I can. Writers across any industry never get enough love. Shout out to the writers. Are you interested in the struggles our children face in the classroom? Teach the Babies with Dr. David Johns has lively conversations about the development and protection of our most precious resource, our babies. In each episode, my good friend Dr. David Johns talks to incredible educators and leaders as they grapple with questions about the future of education and its impact on our own children. This week's episode is back to school. I've been watching parents, moms especially, have meltdowns, whether they're taking the kids to kindergarten or first grade or dropping them off at college. This is a can't-miss deep dive into one of the most important issues facing our country, teaching our babies. Like, subscribe, share, and most importantly, listen as Dr. David Johns and his guests explore these questions with you. Find Teach the Babies wherever you listen to podcasts. We have a bunch of stuff on this list. We're not going to be able to get through everything today. We'll have to save some for Friday. Kendrick is headlining the Super Bowl in New Orleans next year. I'm super excited about this. I'm a huge Kendrick fan. I went to Rwanda to see that man. I also went to see the Gorillas that happened to be going on the same week. One of the best concerts I have been to. I put it up there with Usher and Beyoncé. Kendrick puts on a hell of a show. No pyrotechnics, no gyrating or humping the floor, no sexually charged music, just spitting. Just a man and his microphone and some fully clothed backup dancers. Man just gets on the mic and just spits. Hell of a show. Good visuals. His graphics team, shout out to the graphics team. He just puts on a really great show. I mean, and it's Rwanda. We a long way from Compton. We a long way from America. That crowd went up. I mean, as a general stereotypical observation, African folks be partying. I ain't never seen nothing like that. They are a whole different level of energy. But I was like, really, like Kendrick is huge in Rwanda. And I was like, okay, all right. They go up to we gonna be all right, like we do. It was wild. Okay. Equivalent. So went to see Kendrick last year, December in Kigali, Rwanda. Okay. And this is pre-Drake beef. When he performed on Juneteenth for Amazon and he did Not Like Us, and he did Not Like Us in LA 5 times in a row, and the crowd was just like losing it. They were going completely and utterly insane. That's how it was in Rwanda, off like, I got royalty and loyalty in my DNA. Like, just, they went crazy. Mid-performance, Kendrick is on stage, and this backdrop falls, this gigantic backdrop. It's an outline of Africa with Compton in the middle. So connecting Compton to the continent of Africa and the struggle being the same, the crowd went insane, like insane. It was so good. I can't wait to see him on the Super Bowl stage. I can't believe they allowed him on the Super Bowl stage. Like, the first time I saw Kendrick, it was like the first round of Black Lives Matter. He opened the BET Awards and performed on top of a cop car with an American flag in the background, if I remember this correctly. Like, it was some real, like, anti-establishment shit. And, like, I mean, Kendrick in general is anti-establishment. And then, like, you about to do the Super Bowl, which is the most mainstream, all-American, very corporate, very capitalism, very establishment shit ever. Get your money's, black man. Like, I ain't even mad. It's just wild to me that, like, the face of, I shouldn't say the face, the anthem of the second wave of Black Lives Matter. And at a time in our country where they're doing away with DEI, they're doing away with so much of the progress that has been made for Black people is being rolled back, that the guy who's the anthem of Black Lives Matter, this anti-establishment figure, is going to be headlining the Super Bowl. I love it. I mean, in addition to that, he's having the best year ever and is a major pop culture icon right now. To the point, so Kendrick Lamar is announced as like, okay, Kendrick's doing the Super Bowl. I'm wandering to the kitchen. My parents are watching like the news or whatever they're watching the news, Steve Harvey. I don't know. They love Family Feud. I walk into the kitchen and my dad pauses the TV and he was like, Demetria, who is Kendrick Lamar? I was like, oh, my mom goes, he's a rapper. And I was like, how do you know that? And she says, he's in a feud with Drake. I wish this is when I need to be doing this on video. Because I was like, what? How do you know that? My mom goes, A minor. Yo, I wish you could see my face when she said it. Like, I had no idea my mother. My dad goes, I know that song. How? How do you know this song? So apparently they play Not Like Us all the time during basketball games. My dad is like obsessed with sports, like anything with the ball. But particularly during basketball games, they play Not Like Us all the time. And that's how he's heard Kendrick. I asked my mother, I was like, how do you know this? Because she doesn't really watch sports. She'll go to games downtown sometimes, which I imagine they probably play it there. But I was like, how do you know, like, how are you knowing, like, these lyrics? Like, how are you? And she was like, oh, Instagram. Okay. She knew A minor and she knew pop out and show niggas. She wouldn't say the N word. She was like, pop out and show. And then she just started like giggling. And I was like, oh God. My mother knows Kendrick Lamar lyrics. And then he's feuding. He's feuding with Drake. My mother will beat me if I say how old she is. But like my mother grew up on Motown and my dad, like, had an 80th birthday a few years ago. So like he's at the point that my parents and my mother knows Kendrick lyrics, and then he's feuding with Drake. He's a cultural phenomenon. He should be headlining the Super Bowl. Some people are very upset about this. They feel like Lil Wayne, because the Super Bowl is in New Orleans, they were like, this is Lil Wayne's time. It should be Lil Wayne's Super Bowl. Lil Wayne said that he wanted to headline the Super Bowl. So, like, it should be Wayne. And I was like, should it? I have nothing against Lil Wayne. Like, I like Wayne's songs. A Millie, the Carter 3, I love the whole album. I listen to it on repeat. Like, I feel you. I get it. But Lil Wayne at the Super Bowl? Just because it's in New Orleans? I understand he wanted to do it, that he's publicly like asked and stated that he wanted to do it. I feel like I've publicly asked and stated that I want 100 million. Could someone give it to me? If that's just how you get what you want, you just state it publicly and then someone should give it to you. Where's my 100 million then? People also saying they could have done like a Cash Money, Master P, Lil Wayne. They could have done like a whole thing rolled up together. And I was like, it's not a bad concert lineup. It's not. But the Lil Wayne, what I'm about to say next, it is not nice. It is not kind. It is probably arrogant and rude. It is low vibrational. It is distasteful to say the things that I'm about to say. Lil Wayne looks like a fucking crackhead. He's not performing at the Super Bowl. He looks high out his fucking mind at all times. TV is a visual medium. A close-up of Lil Wayne in HD at the Super Bowl worldwide is not a good idea. It'll scare children. Stop it. No. I am petty. I am small. I am low vibrational. I know. But say one thing I said was a fucking lie. Nikki is having conniptions about it online. She's doing another one of her meltdowns. She does this every like 90 business days. Birdman is having a conniption. Lil Wayne's manager is having a conniption. I haven't heard anything from Lil Wayne. I also read, because people are blaming Jay-Z. People are like, Jay-Z and Lil Wayne have beef, and so he's taking it out on Lil Wayne through Kendrick because Kendrick has beef with Drake, who's one of Wayne's artists. And I was like, you really think it's that deep, or you really just think like Kendrick is having like one of the best years ever of anyone? And probably has a new album coming out. Like, it makes sense. Like, he is the biggest artist in hip hop right now. Also, I read that Jay-Z doesn't even make the final decisions about things like this. Yes, Roc Nation is affiliated with the halftime show for the Super Bowl. They try to bring in big acts. But this is at least what's circulating on social media. I haven't talked to anybody in the NFL directly about this. I don't have an NFL contact. If I did, I would have been an usher last year. I'm still salty. Let's move along. It says the selection process begins with a panel which includes officials such as the NFL's director of entertainment, folks from the NFL's production company, and the halftime show's director and producer. After a long and detailed process, the shortlist is handed over to the Super Bowl's hosting city for a final decision. This is what's circulating online. I don't know if this is true. It sounds like it could be, but let's say that this is true. They don't have a source of where it comes from, but let's just say that this is true. It would mean that the city of New Orleans, so here are your options. Lil Wayne is one of them. Kendrick Lamar is one of them. Whoever voted was like, let's go with Kendrick. The city of New Orleans knows Lil Wayne in and out. They know that nigga high on the time and can't remember his lyrics. Lil Wayne out his own mouth has said he can't remember his lyrics. Y'all gonna put the high crackhead nigga who can't remember his own lyrics on the Super Bowl stage? Y'all think that's a good idea to broadcast to 300 million people? Okay. 300 million might be the light number. It would have been a cute look if Lil Wayne was like peak performance. I saw somebody point out yesterday, I didn't screenshot it, unfortunately, and they were like, when was the last time that Lil Wayne had like a top 10 hit? We don't need to parse whether Lil Wayne is like a hip hop legend. He is. But when was the last time he had like a number one hit? On his own or on somebody's single? It's been years. You gonna bring the man out of retirement and then put him on the Super Bowl stage? I wasn't there when he performed at Essence. I think I might have been in town, but I just had no desire to go. People didn't rave about the show when he performed at Essence. They said he performed. It was a big deal that he came out because people didn't think he would be there. But people weren't like raving about like, oh my God, Lil Wayne's set was so crazy. Versus Kendrick Lamar, who has, if not one of the top selling tours, hip hop tours anyway, of all time. Hell of a performer. Versus Wayne? Again, I have nothing against Wayne. I just, for the Super Bowl, if they had announced it was Wayne, I wouldn't have been mad. But now that we have Kendrick, I mean, I'm Team Kendrick. Somebody I do have something against is in the news yet again. He will not stay out of the news cycle. When he was on Shannon Sharp, and then also I think when he sung, I think it was the national anthem. I still haven't watched the video. Tyrese, he has an album coming out. That's why he did Shannon Sharp. That's why I think he was singing the Star Spangled Banner. Your boy got arrested yesterday for failure to pay child support. He owes something, it's over $70,000 in child support. He's supposed to pay, I think I read $10,000 a month, and he says that it's too much. So he apparently has been paying his ex-wife somewhere around $2,200 instead, because he feels like that's an acceptable amount to pay. And I was like, I know niggas that live up the street with security clearance and government contracts that pay more than $2,200 for one child per month. Tyrese surely makes more than an IT dude living in the Maryland suburbs. And shout out to our cousin Simone Redwine. I love me some Simone. Lawyer Simone, who be breaking down all the cases. If we had more time, if this story hadn't just happened yesterday, I would have reached out to her and asked if she would come talk to us on the show. She's a friend in my head. I like her lots. But she did a breakdown over on her page about what was going on with this Tyrese case and how he ended up getting arrested. The gist of it is Tyrese was ordered by a judge to pay his ex-wife 10,000 American USD dollars and dineros for the child that the both of them created together. The child did not hatch from a pod. She did not spontaneously combust within her mother. Tyrese very much contributed to the creation of this child who carries his DNA. Just for clarity, this is his child. Tyrese doesn't want to pay $10,000. So cousin Simone went and found the paperwork, because that's what lawyers do. $10,000 to the average person does sound like an excessive amount to pay in child support. Child support, which most of us know, is based on a percentage of the earnings. State by state, the percentage varies, but it's based on a percentage. It's not just an arbitrary number that someone plucks out of their head and decides, like, pay this crazy ass amount. It's a percentage of your earnings. So for someone who may not even earn $10,000 a month, even though everyone on the internet earns six figures, for people who don't even earn $10,000 a month, $10,000 a month just in child support sounds excessive. Because people who aren't even earning that are like, hey, I got a kid or two or three, and I'm raising these mofos, and they just fine. Or me even earning less than that. What child needs $10,000 a month and child support? Why is she trying to run this man for his paper? People who say things like that are not fully conceiving the amount of money that Tyrese makes. I don't even know exactly where all this income is coming from. And I was like, Fast and Furious paid you like that? Because I don't know what else he does other than get on the internet and like drag himself. Specifically himself. He be trying to drag other people, but he does it to himself. Cousin Simone, our lawyer cousin, went and got the paperwork. Tyrese gets paid, according to the court documents. This is the stuff that he's actually reporting, because there's probably some shit he ain't reporting. 275,000 American USD dollars and dineros per month. 30-day increments, 275,000 American USD dollars and dineros. That's like 6 times the average person's salary for the year. For the people, of course, who are not on the internet. Because again, the people on the internet all make at least 100,000. But the 100,000 that the people on the internet are making annually, Tyrese is making nearly 3 times that per month just on the money that he's actually reporting. $10,000 in child support, because that's all she asked for. She probably could have got way more than that. $10,000 in child support when you're making $275,000 per month is nothing. It's nothing. It's not even 10% of his money, because that would be $27,000. Half of 27, 13.5. It's not 5% of the money that he's making It's around somewhere like 4%, 3.8, 3.7, somewhere in there of his monthly income, $10,000. It's nothing to him. He still won't pay it. He's been paying his ex-wife. He has been making payments. He's been paying his ex-wife around $2,500 a month, which is less than 1% to support his biological kid with his ex-wife. Not some random, his ex-wife, a woman that to this day still carries his last name. A nigga's trifling. Also, for the folks who were like, oh, she's a gold digger. Why doesn't she get a job? Well, I told you, cousin Simone, lawyer cousin, pulled up the paperwork. His ex-wife is employed. Her gross payment is $7,800 per month. So in comparison to Tyrese's, this sounds like a very small amount. $7,800 times 12. Let's pull out our calculator. I can't do that math in my head. It's 90-something, $93,600. She's earning good wage. Not as much as the people on the internet who all make six figures, but $93,600 on her own. She's gainfully employed doing something. She's just not making Tyrese money. Why don't she get a job? She got a job, a good job. Tyrese has been ordered by the court. There is a court document. A judge has signed off. There is a court order that says he has to pay around 10,000 American USD dollars and dineros per month. I just also want to point this out to you. If she's getting paid $10,000 per month, $120,000, it's still not even half what this man gets paid in 1 month of work. What he's paying her in a year, not half of 1 month of work. Less than half of 1 month of work. And he still won't pay this lady these monies on GP. And the judge locked his ass up. And so I asked yesterday on Instagram, because I was confused, because I was just like, what in God's name would possess you to go to jail, to willingly go to jail? Because just in my head, I was like, there's no way you missed one payment of a check and then they just came and arrested you and took you to jail. I was like, how many payments do you have to miss? How many times would you have been notified by the court you owe this money? You don't forget that you owe this lady money. And you know that you owe the lady money because you're paying the lady the money that you think that she should be having instead of the money that the court ordered for you. He's paying the woman consistently either $2,200, $2,500, one of those, a fourth of what she's owed by a court judgment monthly. Tyrese fucked around and Tyrese found out. Why you would play this game with a judge and end up going in jail, I have no idea. So I asked the question on social media and I was like, I just want to know the process for child support. Like, what are the steps that happen before you end up getting locked up? Child support enforcement agencies from all over this country have reached out to me. I put the message up and I went to dinner with my friend last night. I came back home. I had over 100 messages from child support enforcement agencies and women who have had to put men on child support and men who have put women on child support in my DMs. I had to thank people and say no more. I have the answers that I need. In short, you are notified 11 times that you have not paid the child support or not paid the amount that you need to pay. 11 times. You are notified 11 times you have not paid your child support or you have not paid a sufficient amount of child support. These are the things that can happen. You can have your license suspended. If you have professional licenses, your professional licenses can be suspended. You can have your passport suspended. The last resort, after all the letters, all the messages, all the threats, the last resort is there may be a summons for you to appear in court. If you do not appear, there could be a warrant issued for your arrest. But it is a last resort, something that takes months, possibly years of bullshitting for you to end up going to jail for not paying your child support. Tyrese is a fucking idiot. I read literally 100 people's accounts, either people for child support enforcement agencies or for people who have their child's father on child support. If you don't pay your child support, and many of y'all know this, but folks like me, I ain't got no kids. I ain't never had to deal with this shit. Well, that's not true. If you have not paid your child support and they start sending you threats, like we're going to take your license, we're going to do X, Y, Z because you haven't paid your child support. If you go ahead and put something on it, then those letters stop and the clock restarts again. You ain't got to pay the full thing. You got to just put something on it. So you might owe, say, like $40,000. This woman wrote in and told me this. Her ex-husband owed $40,000. He ain't paid child support in a very, very long time. They sent him a letter threatening to suspend whatever. He put $4,000 on it. everything that she had done to get them to actually enforce. Once he put the $4,000 on it, it restarts the clock. She has to go through the whole process again, going to fill out paperwork, saying he hasn't paid, if he doesn't pay the following month or the following 90 days, all of that. So Tyrese was playing this game where he thought that if I put a little something on it, they can't say I'm not paying. So even though it's not the full amount, she's still getting something. And so, the clock will just keep resetting. The judge was sick of him because, as the numbers I pointed out before, you can pay your entire year's child support to this woman off of half of what you get paid in 1 month. You fucking with this lady, and it's fucking with the court. Because it's a court order. It's not just like, oh, she wants you to do. The court has ordered you to do X. You ain't listening to the court, sir. His ass deserved to be in jail. He got in yesterday. He put up a bunch of money. I don't know if he paid the whole thing, which means he been doing this bullshit with this lady for about 7-8 months to owe that much money. Nigga, that's your kid. He on social media this morning talking about he was in jail and it was traumatizing. You think you needed to go to know that? I ain't never been. I know. I watch movies. I know a couple people that have been locked up. Nobody comes back from jail and talks about how wonderful it was. I was treated so well. The food was amazing. Nigga, you did this to yourself. I don't feel no types of sympathy for you. I'm like, are you doing this dumb shit as promo for your new album? Because everybody is talking about you today. Tyrese is one of those people who I believe feels like all press is good press. So, this is what he's getting. But I was like, did you just go and get yourself locked up in order to promote your album? Are you that fucking stupid? You're part of a $1 billion franchise. And as much as I don't like that nigga, he can sing. Make good music and release it. You got a built-in audience, bruh. Make good music and release it. You ain't got to do all this to promote an album. You ain't got to do all this to spite your ex-wife. She don't want you, bruh. She don't want you. And we all understand why she don't want you. Look how you act in public. I know you do worse in private. He held on Hot Wheels in public. My empathies and sympathies with that lady and that baby. I know every day she is thankful for that baby and she wished she had made a different choice. Don't nobody want to live with this nonsense. She got to deal with this shit for life. For life. People be like, oh, she got to deal with this until 18. For life. As long as he's alive, he's going to terrorize this lady in some way because he can't get over the fact that she actually left him. My empathies and sympathies. I would say I got 5 or whatever, but I don't fucking need to. This man is making $275,000 American USD. She not even running his pockets. We're supposed to talk about some other things. We'll keep it cute. We over this week anyway. Tyrese always gets me fired up. Somebody said on in my comments, and they were like, there's 2 things that will always make me cry with laughter. They were like, anytime somebody fucks up an Usher cover, and anytime Tyrese does some dumb shit, she was like, it's just guaranteed you're going to go off. I was like, am I that predictable? I am. It is what it is. All right, that's the episode. We'll be back on Friday. Talk soon. Bye.